Hello. I once owned a German car, Opel Kadett. I'd seen lots of Opels in Uganda when we lived there in the mid 50s, but they were very rare in America. Once I was at the restaurant, my Indian restaurant, working in the evening, and suddenly I stepped out for something. I don't know what it was. To smoke, I believe. And I saw a light blue, baby blue as we call it, colored Opel sitting there in the parking lot with a sign for sale. I said, wow, and there was a phone number underneath. So that is a practice in America. You have a little for sale plastic sign, and there was a blank space for you. You can write your phone number with a marker. So there was a number. So I go back into the restaurant, take this number down, and then call that person right there. Somebody answered. I said, the Opel Kadett for sale. He said, yes. Who is this? I told him who I was. I said, I am right next door to where you are parked. And he said, well, yeah, I parked that car there, and I have, for a couple of days now, because I wanted for people to see it, I said, sure. I've seen it, and I would like to check it out. So he said, okay. I told him to come in the evening to the restaurant, so because I worked there. So he did, and we went out for a spin. Worked well. It's an old car, third hand, fourth hand, fifth hand maybe, but ran well, and it had a big wooden speaker right in the middle of the console. I said, what is this? He said, well, I like music, and I like loud music. It doesn't matter if it's stereo or mono. So I have connected this to the AM radio. It only had AM radio, no FM. And so then he played it. It sounded good because of the wooden cabinet. Boom, boom. He wasn't an old, young, hip type fellow. He was in his 30s, but he liked music a little loud. So I said, okay. I said, does the speaker go? I don't care for it if you want to take it with you. He said, may I? I said, sure, I don't want it. So he decided that he will keep the speaker. He gave me a price. I don't remember how much it was. Fair, reasonably. It sounded good, and we paid cash for it. Got the registration taken care of. And hey, we had an Opel Kadett. Nice little car, stick shift, four plus reverse. 2 bucket seats and a bench seat in the back. For its size, it was surprisingly spacious. And the trunk, the dicky, oh man, that was huge. We used to get a lot of groceries for the restaurant, in the back of the car. It could handle a lot of big boxes of produce and stuff like that. Slowly, things started, wearing out on the car. The gearbox had some problem, so it wouldn't go in the third gear. I had to go from second directly to fourth, which was fine. I could do that. Then the brakes were kind of, not as effective as they should have been. But in Palo Alto, no problem. We used to drive slow and easy and take care of ourselves, so it's not a big issue. I didn't realize, but the handbrake, parking brake as they call it in America, wasn't working too well either. But as I said, didn't matter in Palo Alto. But then Lalit, my friend, he came to visit Bay Area for a conference, and he lived in Rochester, New York. And he visited. We met after quite a few years, about 5-6 years. And I took him to San Francisco. Putting him in San Francisco was no problem. He had at some Mark Hopkins or some hotel, and he had his conference, and I was supposed to pick him up at 3:30 or 4 in the afternoon. So I went around, did a few things which I needed to do in San Francisco because we lived in Palo Alto, so it was about 45 miles drive. So I didn't go back. I just stayed in. I had a lot of friends in San Francisco whom I could visit. And then I went to pick him up. Now I was showing him around because we had lived together in San Francisco before he moved to Rochester, New York. That was in 72, 73. So we went around to our old apartment house and the other places we used to visit, like the Kala Foods and stuff. And then we were going up on one of those steep streets, either Taylor or Jones, I don't remember which, going north towards Fisherman's Wharf. And there was a stop sign right on top of the hill. So we had to stop. And as I stopped, I realized that my brakes were not all that good. So the car started going back. So Lalit said, "Hey, the car is backing. Stop." I said, "Yeah, I'm trying, but my brakes are not." He said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Yeah, my brakes are not that good. Wait. He said, "Pull the handbrake." I said, "Yeah, but that's not very good either. It won't help much." But I did. It slowed the car down a little bit, but it's pretty steep, so it started really rolling down. And I turned the steering wheel so that it'll stop at the curb. But believe me, it had, gathered momentum, and it was almost climbing the curb, the sidewalk. It did. One wheel did. The right wheel on the back, and the left one, and it stopped. Lalit was sweating. He said, "What kind of car do you have? No brakes?" I said, Yeah. I didn't realize that we'll be having problems in San Francisco. God, he got off. He said, "I am getting out of here till you get on the top." And I said, yeah, that's a good idea. You help me. When it's clear, I'll just no stop sign, I'll just go through the street. He said, "That's a good idea," which I did. And I climbed the hill quite well. It's a powerful car, no doubt. I think it was a 2-liter engine on it, small, maybe 2.6, 2.5. I don't remember now, but it's a pretty powerful car. The only problem was the brakes and the third gear. So we finally got into the car, and he told me, he said, "I want you to get this car fixed tomorrow." He was leaving the day. He said, "And I'm not going to the airport in this car." I said, "Look, Lalit, there are no hills on our way to the airport." He said, "I don't care. You can't drive this car. This is dangerous." But I did for a while. And flat as Palo Alto was, it didn't really make much difference. But I did get the shoes fixed on my brakes because that was easily replaceable. But the transmission, I asked my mechanic. He said, Jay, don't worry about it. You don't want to mess with it. Let it just run. You can still drive, right? I said, yeah. He said, let it drive. So I drove. Now, the funny thing is, one day, as I had parked my car, this Opel, in front of the restaurant at Raj, and I was working, when we finished and started going home, I saw something in the wiper blade. I said, uh-oh, I don't think I can ever get a ticket here, like a citation. And I saw there was this little visiting card. It says, "My name is so-and-so, and I am interested in buying this car. So whenever you're ready to sell it, give me a call." This is my mother's. He wrote it in the back. He said, the card is mine, but my mother's local number is this. And I often come to Palo Alto to see my mother. I live in LA, Los Angeles. So whenever you're ready, because I collect this car, this particular model. So I gave him a call at home after the next day. A decent time to call. I said, Mr. So-and-so, hello, I got your card. Thank you that you are interested, but I'm not selling yet. But the moment I decide to sell it, I'll let you know. He said, please do. I have 3 of these cars. And I like to keep them, like all restored and well kept. And I'll paint this car and get everything fixed. And, I'll have 4 of them. I said, more power to you, sir. I'll let you know. And I did a few months later when I was ready to sell it. And he did respond and he bought it, believe it or not. I didn't lose a lot of money after using it for a couple of years and wearing down the tires and everything. But he did. He bought it and he was happy. I was happy. Everybody was happy. Good little car, Opel Kadett, German. Engineering, very good car, very happy. There was no way I could buy Opels there. GM, General Motors and Opel did have some collaboration later, but it didn't work. Somehow, Peugeot, Citroën, Opel, they have never worked in America. I don't know why. But anyways, that was my Opel. I'm going to put a picture of it. I have a picture of it somewhere. I'll stick it as my thumb view. Take care. Happy motoring.